Grid Kids.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of the Grid Kids podcast. I'm your host as always, Nicholas Semrad. My next guest doesn't need much of an introduction as he's become one of the true forces of the new jazz / experimental / electronic scene. You may either know him from his band Nowhere, or from his solo work, or possibly from his insanely edgy yet grid-strong drumming abilities. Today's guest is the ridiculously talented Louis Cole. Here's a short clip from his most recent solo record. This tune is called When You're Ugly.
When you're sitting, people wanna talk to you. When you're ugly, no one wants to talk to you. When you're ugly, there is something you can't do. But fuck the world can't be real cool. When you're sitting, people wanna talk to you. When you're ugly, no one wants to talk to you. When you're ugly, there is something you can't do. But fuck the world can't be real cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Louis Cole. Hey people in the future, I am here with Louis Cole of Nowhere fame and of Louis Cole fame. Good morning, Louis. It's 9:30, right? 12:30. It's
Yeah.
12:30. My computer doesn't know where we are.
Yeah, mine says the LA time zone too. It never changes.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Shout out to Apple.
My favorite piece is when I put in dates in my calendar and
Mm.
like I'm in like Thailand or some shit and it puts it on the wrong day because it's like, oh, I thought I knew what you meant and then
Yeah.
I missed the show. It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, our show's at 5 a.m.
Yeah. So we were right before this started. We were talking about running to a metronome, and yeah. So I was staying with these ultra runners, and an ultra runner is basically like it's these people that run like 50-mile races and 100-mile races, or actually the place that I went for my birthday for dinner was this place called Vinlo or Vinloy or something like that, Vin Reseda, and the dude there does these races. The guy that runs it does these races where they're just like, okay, it's 24 hours, go as long as you can.
Whoa.
Like
That's what ultra running is, just really long?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, my buddy, shout out to Andrew Tyler, man. He's one of my really good friends, but he's a drummer in LA, and he runs like 100-mile races like 4 or 5 times a year.
Whoa.
It's fucking-
100 miles?
Dude, I just ran 3 this morning, and I felt like I wanted to puke.
How do you run 100? That's crazy.
Dude.
What's a
like,
marathon, like 20
I
something?
think marathon is 26.2 or 26.4 or something like that.
Whoa.
Half is 13.1. Yeah, dude, it's really, and like all those people have all these like weird form tricks and shit they have to do, but one of his things was if you run to 180 beats per minute, you have to take small steps because it's pretty quick.
Huh.
So if you take small steps, there's less impact on your feet.
Oh, really?
So
So,
you can
that's
do-
why you started running at 180.
Yeah.
Dude, drum and bass is like 175 usually, I think. That's pretty cool.
Dude, there's all these cool like playlists of like that runners have made on Spotify of like 180
180?
BPM.
Dude, I have some 180 BPM tracks.
Dude, I gotta put them in the
Yeah.
playlist.
I don't remember what they are.
I tried running to like one of those playlists, and then I realized that I really wanted to listen to like Deftones and TV on the radio and like some harder shit,
Mhm.
which is all way slower. So I just put a metronome on behind it
Oh, really?
and then run
Well,
to
what
the
you
metronome.
ever thought about putting it in Ableton and speeding
Stretching it?
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think it would have the same like aggression.
Oh man, it might though. Dude,
Yeah.
sometimes I speed up my tracks just when I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'll put my tracks that I already made, that are already released or whatever, I'll just put them in Pro Tools and I'll slow them down or speed them up or pitch shift them, and it's just like you get to hear it again for the first time. It's really fun actually.
Have you ever changed a tune after that?
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like, that's
definitely.
way radder.
Well, I put one of our songs in called Hanging On. I put it in backwards, and actually, man, the melody
Whoa.
and chords are really pretty and cool. Like, they're really unexpected. It sounds like something I would write, but that I wouldn't write. It's kind of just like unexpected. I don't know. It's cool, man. If you're ever stuck on a song,
Dude, I'm
you should
thinking
do
of
that.
those changes backward.
Yeah.
They're really rad. Holy shit. Minor
Yeah.
2, flat 3, regular 3, 6, minor 2. It's like a Beatles tune backward.
Yeah, it's something about it, and then with the melody on top of it and how it sounds, it's almost better than the original version.
Holy
It's
shit.
kind of cool if anyone wants to try that out at home.
we'll do an Instagram repost. It'll be pretty sweet.
I used to sleep with a metronome under my pillow.
I've had friends do that, and some people say it's awesome,
Yeah.
and some people are like, I just feel like I'm going nuts.
Yeah, well, I'm always going nuts, but I think my metronomic time sucked for like a decade after that anyway, so I don't know, maybe it helped, but maybe it didn't. I couldn't tell you, but at least I was trying. At least I was putting that energy out into the universe that I wanted to get
Yeah,
better.
please, time gods.
Yeah, but I don't know if it actually did anything.
Oh my god. So when people hear this, it'll probably be like a week from now. We will have played, you will have played 2 shows here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I will have played 1 and then partied to the second one.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's birthday weekend and that's how we do it.
Yeah, man.
And then I think you guys do a few more dates.
Yeah, we have like 4 or 5 more.
Okay. And then you are spending hella time writing this year.
Yes.
So you're like not really going that hard on the tour front.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said, but now it turns out I said yes to a lot of stuff like a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I am gone kind of a lot.
Any Antarctica gigs this year?
Man, I wish. I would definitely go there no matter what my plans were.
We're putting that
If I got
out in
an
the
offer.
universe too, of like, have to play in Antarctica. at
Oh,
some
man,
point.
yeah, if there's any, like, scientists at McMurdo listening, dude, like, please give me a gig. I'll buy my own flight.
Dude, I bet there's probably like one flight there. You have to fly to like Iceland and then take like a charter jet.
Well, you're probably thinking of the Arctic. I think you have to fly to, like, New Zealand or
Oh
something.
yeah, that's other way.
Well, you could, yeah, I mean, Greenland looks cool. When I was in Iceland the other day, or not the other day, I think it was like 2 months ago, but at the airport there, I saw Air Greenland, and
Whoa.
I didn't even think of that. I never thought of Greenland as just like being a place that would have an airline or something. It's
A
like,
place you can go.
yeah, exactly. It seemed like you
Where
can't.
that's up.
Yes,
Greenland?
really up. Yeah, there's a city there called Nuuk, I guess, and it's like,
Whoa.
yeah, you can get there with Air Greenland.
Whoa.
This podcast is brought to you by Air Greenland.
Dude, at some point I'm gonna have to start doing the advertisements for random shit that no one knows exists.
Oh yeah, that's cool,
I'm gonna
man.
be super
Has anyone
into
given
that.
you any offers yet?
Yeah, nothing that I care about. Sorry, people.
10-speed dildo with 2 heads and
Yeah, I remember
multiple
hearing,
attachments.
there was some shit about Rogan. I listen to Rogan's podcast all the time, and he was talking about how early on, like, just some of the weird shit that he had to like put out as advertisements, and like I think one of them was the fleshlight.
Oh, tight.
Dude, I think he advertised the fleshlight on the Rogan podcast for like maybe like 6 months or a year or something like that.
Damn. Does he have to do it in front of the guest, or he does it by himself? Probably.
No, I think it's beforehand.
Yeah.
He does like before and after. Like, this one is brought to you by me.
Yeah, it's like an inverted dildo. That's cool.
I think at some point too, like the funniest part of it was that the company reached out to him and was like, "Man, I think we've got as many fleshlight sales as like you're gonna get us." I think
They
it, like,
had to tell him
it
to
like
stop.
yeah, it like worked really well for a while, and then they were like, "All right, let's maybe chill on the."
Wow. They
Yeah.
were like, we can't keep up with the demand.
Oh, I think it was mutual. I think they were just like, we've been advertising the fleshlight for a long time. Like, maybe we should switch it up. And the company was like, yeah, it's plateaued a little bit. Like, weird economics regarding the fleshlight.
Yeah. Shit, man.
Dude, really rad. I was going to get into, like, how the hell I met you. Because
Yeah.
we had an interesting first... the first night we hung was very memorable to me. I knew about you because I had saw like YouTube shit up in New York and was like, wow, Genevieve's amazing and Lewis is cool too. No, I was like, no, the whole thing was like super rad. And I was like, holy shit, these guys are doing like covers of tunes that I hate and making me love them.
Dude, we hate him too.
Yeah. Dude, it was so killing that, and like the whole New York music scene was just like, what the fuck is going on? It was really rad. And then I think Corey's band played a show with you guys in Budapest.
Yeah.
Was that where it was?
Yeah.
And that was the first hang, and I remember in Anxious Nick history, I remember being like, oh, this guy's super cool, I respect the shit out of this whole band, and then like literally the first conversation we had was like me saying how much I hated jazz and you being like, nah, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're still wrong.
Yeah, I know.
But I
Yeah.
understand that feeling.
Well, I've grown in my opinion of like, I have a very love-hate relationship with it. Where
I mean, you play it, so
it's like part of the reason I hate it is because I'm insecure about my abilities in it, especially like standards. Like the dudes, I mean, shit. We saw, I can't think of the guy's name now. This is terrible, but when we saw Schofield's group, like that piano player was so.
Oh, Gerald Clayton.
Dude, Gerald Clayton is so intimidatingly good to me,
Yeah.
and it was just like, and it's mainly because I don't have any idea how that shit works. Like I know I know changes, and I know
That's
like,
maybe good though, because you then
maybe
it can help you lead to your own thing. You definitely have your own thing, and I think that's one reason you got there is maybe not
because I didn't latch on.
because you don't know certain things, and that's how I feel about chords. Like, I honestly I don't know any theory really, except I know like what a major 7 is. I know what a major scale is.
Which
I know
is unreal.
I know what a blues scale is, but like I think I got to a certain point where I was like, I've just spent a lot of time on a keyboard or whatever writing, and I know what chords I like, and I try to listen to stuff and learn stuff, and try to do it by ear, but like not knowing certain things or not knowing how to play through a jazz song, but still writing chords that are kind of like jazz songs or something like. I think that's, at least for me, I'm happy with the path I took of not knowing certain things and kind of like learning in a different way or a separate way. Like maybe you feel like you don't understand how to play through a jazz standard like how most people are taught or something, but dude, I think that can be an awesome tool sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and the funniest part of it too is in the path to like self acceptance of all that stuff, you start realizing how like most of the people that you respect like are also like that. Like one of my favorite like writers of chord shit is Radiohead. Like and Radiohead's changes like jazz people, like I listen to all Meldau's recordings of that stuff, and it's like Meldau didn't write that.
Yeah.
Like a dude who knew nothing about theory wrote that.
Exactly. Well, dude, and I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos on like Tesla and Einstein and stuff, and they so many times have talked about intuition being the most powerful thing that you can have. Is that the way to say it? But intuition. The intuition is killing.
I wonder how you like shed that.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. This whole last 4 months, I've been trying to figure out that, but I don't know if there's a way to shed it except for just to like, just want it and to be open to receiving it when it happens and to like spending time when it hits you to try to like do something like if an inspiration or idea like hits you to try to, give back as like a thank you note. Like I'm gonna try to do something with this.
Yeah.
And even if it goes nowhere, at least I tried and put in some energy on it. But I think like going like intuition, like if you just keep developing whatever feels natural to you, like if you're not like trained in a certain way in music, but you keep developing your thing that is maybe unconventional or your path that's unconventional, as long as you're putting in the energy and the time and you have some kind of like vision of where you might be going with it or something, like you're going to be killing like in maybe a different way or something.
I feel like even the vision of where you might be going is less important than like catching on to like there's this whole like mental health idea of getting rid of shoulds and paying attention to wants. And especially like in I tell this to a lot of my students where they'll get into like, oh man, I feel like I should be learning this thing, I should be like working through changes, I should be working on this and this, and then you literally ask them like, well, what do you want to be working on?
Exactly.
No one has any idea. Everyone's
man.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
And like, that's been a big step for me, was finally figuring out, even the jazz thing, I could still struggle with what I think of it. And I have this weird guilt about some parts of it, but like in terms of practice, like I have no problem practicing my pedals. Like to me, like I used to feel guilty about that because I was like, oh shit, I should be working on like learning Coltrane's Giant Step solo in every key. And now I'm like, nah, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah. Man, the one thing, that's true. Like if you're in touch with like the passion part of the music, you're going to be good because like that's all that matters. Like you think Jimi Hendrix was like, I should work on blues scales. I think he was just like, I need to do this and do it always or whatever. It's just, and that's how he became good probably. That's my guess.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who's good, they're just like, they love it so much, or they find the parts of music that they love so much, and they just do that, and they never ask, like, why they're doing it. They just fucking do it because they love it. And I think if you really find the stuff in music that you love, man, it's just like, it makes it 100 times easier and clearer and cooler.
You seem like, I mean, the little I know about I know a little bit about your college experience just through your friends and through the podcast with Genevieve.
Right.
But it seems like you kind of knew that you were pretty weird early on.
Well, I mean, yes.
I'm sure there's been paths through that were strange, but...
Yeah. Well, as far as, like, weird, like just alternative
heterodox,
things.
Let's use that.
Yeah, I've never heard that term, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, like, my parents were always just, like, showing me different alternative, cool, forms of art, whether it's comedy or music or movies or TV shows or whatever. They were just, like...
basketball.
Yeah, Clippers. Yeah, I got into the Clippers because of Darius Miles. I just connected with that guy. But yeah, like, I don't know, they would just show me like so many different kinds of things, and then nothing was off limits, nothing was considered like weird or I don't know, just that different. It was just all art and all fair game. And then like my uncle Clint Baz, like he used to buy these like keyboards from like flea markets or like Radio Shack or something.
Huh.
Which had like 6-track recording capability in them, and they had like really early like crappy sounds that are beautiful because of how shitty they are.
Yeah.
And he would just like make, just like he knew, he had zero musical training, and he would just go full on gut reaction, intuition style, like the weirdest but deepest music ever. And he was just like a huge influence on me. So I never even thought, that anything would be weird or something. I just started making music. And then people started telling me it was weird. I started making music when I was like, I don't know. He gave me a keyboard, my uncle, when I was like 10 or 11.
Oh, right.
And I started making some tracks that are very, I think I can see why people call them weird.
Did you get pushback in the education system at all? You went to UCLA?
Oh, for school? No, for like after high school I went to USC.
USC, that's right.
Yeah.
Because I know some of the West Coast schools are more, they're a little bit looser than I think where I grew up in some of the more proper schools or whatever. But like,
like the East Coast stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially like Middle America is very like do this one thing this one way or you're nothing kind of a.
Damn.
Yeah, and I'm wondering like. I would be curious to see how a teacher in like a grading system would approach what you do.
Well, in music school at first, a lot of teachers who aren't really open-minded as much as I like, they would kind of be like, you're not playing this big band chart how it's supposed to, you're not setting up a figure. I can see why they'd be pissed, because I probably sucked back then too, like my first couple years. But I think they were kind of weirded out by how I would play, and I don't know if it bothered me that much. I mean, maybe in rehearsal I'd get a little stressed out, but I wasn't like, all right, I'm gonna go and practice how to sound exactly like this big band drummer from 1945 or whatever. And I didn't give a shit about that, and I was just so used to just working on what I wanted to. Yeah. I had a work ethic, and it was starting to develop by then, but I would use it entirely on whatever I wanted to work on. Mm-hmm. And there was the first teacher, the first two teachers at music school that kind of noticed that I had like a alternative style and were into it were Bill Watrous, who's like this legendary trombone guy, and then Aaron Sarfati also. And then I kind of felt like, oh, that's cool. Like people kind of understand that I have a different vibe, and they like it and they're into it. It kind of felt good, but it didn't really change anything. But I don't know. I guess.
Did it ever affect like grading? Like, did you ever like have a class that you like didn't pass because you were not normal?
No, I don't think it was, as far as grading, I don't think like those classes where you're actually playing an instrument, I don't think as long as you show up, okay. I think you kind of get an A. I think.
That's good.
Yeah.
Jen was telling me you did some arrangement using nothing but like MIDI bassoon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was in this guy Jason Goldman's class.
That's so good.
We had to write like 3 instruments of the same kind or something, playing like with each other at the same time. I forget what it was, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a bassoon like arpeggio blowout, and he was just like, he's like, don't use MIDI bassoons. He's like, he called me Cole. He's like, Cole, don't use MIDI bassoons. I know you're gonna do it, but don't do it. Don't use those fucking MIDI bassoons. And I was like, I looked at him, and I was like, yeah, all right, man, sure. And then I came in with a full-on MIDI bassoon hurricane. But he was like laughing. He was laughing about it. Because the MIDI bassoons, dude, they were crazy sounding. And there was just like a lot of them playing like 100 notes a minute. It was pretty tight.
That's amazing. Did you ever have moments in school where I guess it seems like that stuff wasn't really affecting your mindset at all. Like, did you ever wonder if like the school thing mattered? Like, were you just kind of in it like, fuck it, I'm going to get it done. Like, I'm here anyway. Or did you have
when I was there, I never, man, it was like one of the coolest times of my life ever. I'm like in a school for playing music. Like some people were like, oh, fuck this. Yeah. But I think I was just lucky to be passionate about music. Like I would show up to some of my classes and stuff and you know, so I could get through and, you know, I don't know, just show that I cared to be there or something. But when the class was over, I wouldn't work on any of that stuff. I would go into the drum room and play funk beats, dude. That's straight up what I would do. And when I wasn't doing that, I would be, you know, like hanging with friends who also played music. We'd be showing each other music. We were just like immersed, man. And that was the thing that I thought was cool. Is like I met some insane musicians there who were really passionate about music, and I never had friends, except for maybe one or two, that were that passionate about music. So we all just like kind of pushed each other. And just
super communal vibes.
Oh yeah, man! It was just a community of like close friends that just loved music, like loved it so much. It's undescribable, and we just kind of like made each other love it more and more. And we would play music together and develop together, and just be like shedding and practicing all the time, and writing our own little weird songs. And
that's one. That's one of the pluses, man. Like I go at school pretty hard on this podcast because of my my previous experiences.
It wasn't good.
Well, man, all these listeners will have heard this before, but I didn't get accepted into it because they said I was too, like, blues and jazz oriented.
So were you trying to go classical or something?
Well, that was all that, there was a good chunk of time where, other than, like, the heavies, like the East Coast, West Coast, like, big schools, like, no one was really fucking with jazz, like, no one, electronic music was the farthest thing from their minds. Like, I had a teacher at one of my schools that literally said, like, if you don't know like these 10 Beethoven pieces, like you're not going to be anything. And
yeah, so that's a big problem. That'll fuck with you, man, if you have a teacher like that.
So I have to be fair to like the school thing, that there is a pretty big plus to it. And the one plus is that you're literally like creating a scene.
Yeah.
It's like you're paying hella money, and that's part of it that maybe, you know, it's like, especially the kids that don't get scholarships are going to have to recover from. But the communal vibe is like, there's so much that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know hella players that like they get gigs later in life because they got killing at something. One of their buddies got killing at something, and they're like, oh shit, I gotta call that dude I went to school with. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think about like John Mayer and my dude James Valentine from Nebraska. They went to like the Berkeley summer camp together, and then like James Valentine got huge in Maroon 5, Mayer got huge on his own, and now like they record together all the fucking time. And it's like a hang that would have never happened without the school meeting.
Yeah, network shit. That's important.
It really is. And it's, learning how to do that is huge. I mean, there's a few outcasts who are so good at music that it doesn't matter if they can hang or not. They can like learn to hang through that. But man, like you got to be unbelievably good to bypass the social part of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't hang at all, like you're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's important.
Unless you're like a music god. Man, so when did you get into? I'm gonna kiss your ass for a minute. That you're like top 3 key bass players of all time.
Oh man,
it's like you and Philin Gaines. Like,
yeah, that guy's good, man.
Dude, he's really good. But like, it's a different like. I don't know how the fuck you think about key bass, but it's so drummy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing, man. Dude, I'm playing drums on the keyboard.
But it's killing because you're no choice. It's like you're not just playing tonics or roots or whatever. Like you're doing like. You're like, what the fuck?
Man, I think the way I got there, I would say.
When did you start all of that? Like,
the first thing was, This guy Tim Emmons, he's like a bass player.
That sounds super familiar.
He's from LA,
Okay.
but he used to like hang out with my dad, and he saw I was like this young kid, and he saw that I was like interested in music, and so he gave me this book of James Brown bass lines.
Oh shit.
I couldn't read music, but it came with like a CD where the guy was like, "Here is a bass line from Mother Popcorn." You know, it's like pretty funny, but the guy.
Is there a song called Mother Popcorn?
Oh yeah, it's sick.
Whoa.
Yeah. But the audio examples came with all the bass lines, and they would slow it down for you and be like, "This is how you play the bass line from Cold Sweat" or whatever.
Whoa.
And so they would play it real slow for you, and then so I used to just like sit there and listen to it, and then just like try to play the bass lines back. And then there was also this Jimmy McGriff album called Funkiest Band in the Land, which was just the bass playing on that was just like so tight. I don't know who wrote the bass lines. I don't even know who the bass player is. I should figure that out. I should find that out just to know. But man, I think those two things kind of were the first things that like I just wanted to play that shit all the time.
Dude,
on
the,
keyboard.
the James Brown shit is such a great like practice tool too, because usually those bass lines don't move.
Yeah.
You know, like I talk about this quite a bit, but like I've played the fucking Payback for probably 30 to 40 hours of shedding time.
Yeah.
Just that song.
Yeah.
Because the bass line is so simple, but it's so hard, and he plays a fill I think in 12 minutes,
Oh wow.
and the fill is just like meh. Like it's like one extra note,
Yeah.
and it fucks the whole thing up. Like it's
Yeah,
weird.
It means a lot.
Yeah, he does it, and the whole band is like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But it's dude, like that kind of practice is so money. Like,
Mm-hmm.
were you doing it because you're very like two-handy, drummy in the technique way? Was that intentional or like did you ever take?
That's all I could do, man. When I was just listening to those James Brown bass lines on that CD, like I was just trying to play it the only way I could, which is just like trying to like tap it out with two fingers. I look like a raptor, but I still do. But
did you have to do like keyboard like technique classes in college and shit like that?
Yeah, a little bit. I actually
you probably have a little bit of that shit.
Yeah, it probably helped a little bit, like figuring out how to play a major scale with
how to cross the old thumb under.
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of shit. That's good stuff.
But man, like even theory wise, like you're coming from a very strange place in your
Mario Kart,
dude.
Kind of chord.
Yeah. Dude. But I mean, even just like keybase wise, like something like just the approach shit, like it's kind of churchy. Some of it's kind of churchy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Unintentionally churchy.
Yeah, well, man, I mean, I hadn't ever listened to a lot of church music or gospel music, really. I still haven't that much. But there's probably, like, similar influences that a lot of those people are coming from that maybe I heard, or I don't know if there's some kind of similarity like that.
Yeah, I mean, the keybase vibe is pretty big there. I think Phil and Gaines, I'm sure someone who knows more about the history will correct me on this in the comments, but I think Phil and Gaines I feel like he was fairly churchy, and like between him and like Stevie, like those guys influenced like all like the R&B church music generation.
Well, they're on so many, or at least Greg Gilligan, he's on so many recordings too. You can't have not heard him at some point.
Dude, have you heard the like the Shaka stuff he did?
Yeah,
dude, it's
insane. It's awesome. Well, Sam Wilkes helped me like figure out who was playing on what. He's like a music encyclopedia. Sam Wilkes.
Dude, I'm gonna do a podcast with him where I just have him play records.
Oh man, that's smart, dude. Yeah, he's really an encyclopedia. It's awesome, dude. Yeah. And I've learned a lot just him telling me like who's on what and showing me new stuff too, which is cool.
That's so rad.
Yeah.
Dude, you're in a cool spot too because you're like because the music that you write needs heavy players to pull it off. Like if you do the band vibe, like your stable has some very interesting pieces to it.
What do you mean?
Like just the depth chart, as I was saying.
Oh, like the people who,
yeah, it's like because
the roster,
you know, bass I've seen like between Sam and LaFave, and then like the 85 keyboard players on the roster.
Yeah.
You know, and then who's the guitar player from Canada who's killing?
Oh, Tom Gill.
Dude, Tom's I've only heard him play keyboard, and he's amazing at that.
Dude, Tom Gill is one of the greatest musicians alive. It's for me.
Dude, he's so
and he's the entire reason he is the entire reason I started trying to make dance music.
Really?
Yeah, I saw this I went to my cousin's recital for a school in Toronto.
Yeah.
And there was this guy playing guitar named Tom Gill, and then they did one of his songs. And it was just so deep and so beautiful, but it was this dance song, and it was I don't know, just instantly changed my life. Instantly. And ever since then, I haven't really been the same.
Dude.
Yeah.
Was that pre Skrillex?
Oh yeah, way pre Skrillex.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, I mean
So you've known
Skrillex.
him for a bit.
Skrillex pushed me to make like heavier, like crazy, like club blasting dance music.
Yeah.
But Tom was just like, I don't know. It just opened my mind to like, oh, like a dancier beat with like cool chords on it. Like that's cool. You know, he just made me think like,
So you've known him for a bit.
yeah, since 2000. What was that? 2007. Yeah.
Jesus. Dude, I saw him playing with that band. Tell me the name.
Bernice.
Who's ridiculous.
Oh man, they're
Like
amazing.
really, really ridiculous. I've never been so overwhelmed from expectations. Like, I just like, this is me being a douchebag, but like just seeing like certain gear sometimes. I see certain gear and I go like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is terrible because every time I think that I approve.
Well, it's fine to have that thought.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Can't control that shit.
Yeah, yeah. But I saw this stuff, and then from the second they started, I was like, oh my god, everybody on stage right now is heavy as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, they're using all this stuff for good.
Dude, yeah. The drummer was like doing all this weird like subtractive synth drumming.
Yeah. All those people are deep, man.
But
It's
Tom
amazing.
had like he had one of the little Yamaha reface things,
Mm.
and I'm pretty confident in my abilities on that. And he made me just question all of it.
Really?
Yeah,
You guys are so different, man.
Dude, he just had such a like his sound choices were super super heavy.
Oh man, yeah. That's another thing. Not just his playing and writing, but it's his sounds and the sound of his voice. It's fuck, dude.
Really, he sings too.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay. One of the best shows I've ever seen in my life, probably top 5 shows ever, was just him in a living room in LA.
Whoa.
And yeah, man, he was just singing and playing guitar like so soft, and it was just so much emotion the whole time. And I kind of like
That's rad.
forgot that like live music could do that. You know, just,
Yeah.
sometimes I forget because live music isn't always just like doesn't completely scratch that itch for me.
Yeah.
But man, his show was just like holy shit. Him and Skrillex were like the 2 best shows I've seen in recent memory.
It's so out.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I saw Skrillex and Zed in Omaha, and it was really intense.
Oh yeah, when?
Like, maybe like 06 or 07.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Like, it was like right when.
Oh, that's sick. So you probably heard some really punk ass sounding
Let me
Skrillex.
think.
Like
So
really
when did Zed come out with the Zelda thing that blew up? That wasn't too long after I was out of college, or I should say, done with trying to be.
Man, I don't know. I don't know Zed as much, but I know Skrillex. Like, I don't even know.
So
When did he release that Ghost
So
album?
Scary Sprites had just come out.
Oh no, that's 2000. That's 2010.
Okay, I'm an idiot. So 2010.
Oh well, that's the golden age of Skrillex, dude. So that show,
It was really heavy.
that's the year before I saw him. That's like some of the greatest music ever written, I think.
Yeah, and I was just impressed to see like a dude, because I kind of had the purest thoughts of like, oh, this guy's like a DJ. It's
Right.
you know, I want a drummer in a band.
Yeah.
And like he got up there and I didn't care about any of that.
Yeah.
It was
No,
really,
man.
It was really heavy.
Yeah,
I used to listen to Scary Sprites and just want to fight cops. Like,
yeah,
the shit was
exactly, man.
funny.
It's so full of emotion, dude.
Yeah.
It's really deep, and
Yeah,
the melodies that he makes out of non-melodic shit is it's so deep, man. He's really like a next level guy for me, I think.
Have you met him?
No, I would love to. Just to see him. I was too scared. I saw him in Las Vegas, and Genevieve went up to him and was like, "Hi," but I was too scared. I was just like, I can't read this.
Starstruck vibes.
Yeah, I was just frozen.
That's amazing, man. So you have an interesting path to me because first of all you're really good at a number of instruments, and like one of my questions to you was going to be like, have you like you do side gigs? I've seen you like play drums with people
Yeah.
and like support or whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious that your love is like your music and like your close projects and
Definitely.
shit like that. Like, was there ever a conscious decision to be like, man, I want to be really good at drums, but for my stuff?
I don't know. I just kind of developed there because I knew that my number one passion was writing. And
Okay. And that was early.
yeah, it started to really. I mean, my passion was drums for a while. I mean, I guess it was first writing when I was real young, and then it became drums when I was like late teenager, early 20s, and then it became writing again. Now it's full on writing. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to be good at drums so I could just destroy my own music as good as I possibly could, you know? And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are there any side gigs that would curtail that?
Wait, what does that mean?
Like, is there any artist who could call you and be like, "Yo, Lewis Cole, man, I really need you to play drums
Oh
on
my
this like
God,
6-month tour"?
Oh, no, I couldn't do a 6-month tour with anyone, even
But,
if,
like, Well, okay, like 2 months. Let's say it was like 2 months.
I couldn't do 2 months either. I would have to make it, like, my cutoff would be 1 month.
So there's no artist that could say, like,
No,
even if
there's no-
Skrillex came up and was
no.
like, "Dude, I really need you to play drums for
No.
6 months."
I would probably marry Skrillex before I would go on a 2-month tour. Because that's 2 months where I can't write music, and I feel like I have this fucking burning asteroid of heat in my chest every day that I wake up where it's like, you're behind. You need to, it's now or never. What are you doing? And so I'm like, I'm always on edge kind of a little bit on the inside, and like I'm always anxious. Even though I'm putting out a lot of music and writing a lot of music and finishing a lot of stuff and always working, I feel like I'm just behind my own personal schedule that I somehow have. I don't know why.
But what's your...
So if I had 2 months of
Yeah.
touring with someone, I don't know. I guess if there was a setup where I was like,
You could still write.
had my
Right.
complete own room and I had drums in there and a tour bus with a computer and just I could.
I mean, there's some big artists, man. Like, I feel like a band like, a Radiohead or like The Who or somebody like that.
Yeah, they could
like,
definitely do
you
that.
You have a recording bus if you want it.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, I don't know. Even if I go on a 2-month tour of my own stuff, I don't think I could do a 2-month tour of my own stuff.
Really?
Yeah, even this like the thing you were on in November, that was a month total. Not the part you were on.
yeah.
You were on the first little part of it.
Yeah.
But that was a month total, and I was like losing it.
Really?
Even though it was awesome, like each experience was great, but overall I was just like away from my work zone for a month, and I was
Yeah.
freaking out.
It definitely seems like you have a real... Is it a place of comfort or just a place of like duty? Because I've seen you, like, for instance, like I've seen you at your house where there's been like raging parties going on,
Yeah.
and you're just like working your ass off in the corner, and like
Yeah.
everyone. It's cool. The other cool part is that everyone seems to kind of know to leave you alone.
Yeah, I think people kind of know that I'm really concentrating on something, or at least trying to, or
Yeah.
pretending to, or what. But they're not like trying to come upstairs and spill beer on my computer or something. It's pretty cool.
They're not trying to steal you away for an hour podcast.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah. But I mean, it's dope that like it seems like you have this place that you figured out of like, nah, this is my home. Like
Yeah.
this is, and I don't know if a lot of people have that.
What do you mean, like this is my home, like working?
Yeah, I mean, you just know, you really know where your meaning is.
Oh yeah, dude. That's. I'm just trying to chase happiness and trying to fulfill what I feel like I was meant to do on this earth.
Do you have an end goal or like a reason you're doing it apart from that? Like for instance, a lot of people will say like, oh, I'm writing music so that I can buy a house and feed my family, or like, I'm writing music because I want to be remembered, or like,
Yeah.
do you have some sort of end?
Those are definitely
statement?
those are side goals. Those two that you mentioned. If
Yeah.
I can get a house, that's great. But my main goals are I just want to write really good music. I want to write like the deepest music that is imaginable. You know, the best music that I can. That's what I want to do. I just want to write really good music that has power and is just cool. The thing with music is it's subjective. So what does that mean? Like the greatest music ever or deepest music ever? It's probably just my own opinion in the end. But I'm sure if it's enough love and energy is put into it, then other people are going to connect to it too.
Yeah.
Which would be nice also. And my other goal is to help the world, change the world somehow. Really,
Well,
I do want to change
yeah.
the world with my music and make it a better place if I can, like somehow serve humanity in some way. The only way I'm going to be able to do that is with music, because I'm not powerful enough at anything else.
Well, and the thing I appreciate about your stuff is that you're doing that from, it seems like a really genuine, like, loving place, rather than like, you don't have this mission of like, oh, these people suck, let me end this thing, or let me try and conquer this like political faction. It's like, no, it's like your shit is literally like, I love people, like, let's all be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I hate a lot of people too.
Yeah, but you don't.
But I need to channel the anger, because anger can lead to some like really good funk grooves and stuff, and like, I don't know, drum fills or whatever. But like, it's gotta be. It's for me when I'm writing. It's gotta be channeled in the right way. If I'm just like pissed and angry all the time, then like my ideas kind of feel blocked, I think. And yeah, I think a lot of love is what I have. I mean, I grew up with a lot of love, and I'm optimistic. You know, my family and my friends and stuff. I'm like infinitely thankful that they brought me up in that way. So I don't know. I guess that's how I'm programmed to just be kind of more loving.
You guys have this band, like, probably the most positive vibe of all the groups that I play with. Like,
Yeah.
Everybody else is a little
Hang-wise.
big brothery. And
Oh man, I don't like
Which
that
is-
shit after a while.
well, it's cool. I mean, yeah, it gets, it can, in our scene, like, man, especially, like, I'm not heavily invested in the church scene, but I did a lot of that up in New York, and that was I had to catch myself, because that scene, like, I was already kind of tendent to go towards darkness and like judginess and shit like that, and man, a lot of that scene has that, which is weird because it's church, it shouldn't be. But like, you know, the church scene has its pockets of that. The jazz scene definitely.
Yeah, I don't know if Jesus would approve of that, guys.
Well, yeah, and like, you know, even dudes like you read like Miles's biography or like you know, some of the old jazz hits.
Probably a lot of dark stuff.
They were just dicks, man.
Yeah.
You know, like
I never connected with that so much. I mean, I went through that in middle school and high school where you just be like pushing your friends into a bush or whatever. It's like all the time. It's like fucking I don't need to do that anymore, man. There's enough stuff in life like trying to beat us down at every molecule of the way. We don't need that shit anymore, I don't think. Like, you know, you can make fun of people. I make fun of Genevieve all the time and it's like a good vibe. But as long as the vibe is good, you know, you can do a little bit of stuff like that. But I never really loved that kind of stuff. I like more just like trying to maybe go towards the positive hangs. Although, dude, sometimes I get into dark zones and I'll talk more shit than anyone about stuff.
You and I have had one or two.
I
probably don't help that.
No, it's great, dude. Sometimes I think you're too loving about certain things. I'm like, how the fuck does he like this thing he just played for me? It sucked. But that's mostly music. I get real shit talky about that stuff sometimes.
I think there's a certain part of it that's okay. You know, like,
dude, totally.
I haven't met too many people who are all loving, all happy.
Yeah, there's something off.
All
I think
positive
that
I like their playing.
Yeah, that's the,
you know, like there's
and
I, you know, I've actually used this as an educational tool too. Like, you know, I've had students, I'm thinking of 2 or 3 in particular, who are like really fucking amazing students, and I literally tell them like, man, go get broken up with, like go get beat up, like maybe do a drug in a very safe way, you know, like like do something that like pushes your
spectrum
boundary.
of emotions.
You have to be able to tap into that. I mean, like, you know, I definitely have had moments on stage where I'm like, yes, this is like a religious, spiritual thing for me right now. Everything's positive. I love everybody up here. But I've definitely had some like, man, fuck that guy.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like I've had a moment where I saw a band play before us and there was like a jerk in the band and I'm like, man, I'm going to make him look bad.
Yeah.
It's
tight though, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just...
That's good.
It's
channeled in the right way, man.
Yeah, that's the key is like, don't live and die on that.
Like, yeah, I mean, I might risk my life to save you from a truck. Not you, but some guy. I might risk my life to save you from a truck about to hit you, but like, I hate your music. You know, I think it's full of bullshit, and you know it too. And it's like, fuck you for that. But I also love you so much, and I would save your life.
Oh God, that's my favorite. That's so good. That's so real though, man. Yeah, I've definitely played with people who I don't like their music either.
Yeah, but also, you know, like
I try not to anymore.
Yeah, and it's also like sometimes it's out of their control. Like they feel like maybe they're more malleable or shapeable, and like they've been pushed in a direction that they feel like, oh, this is good that I'm doing this, right? And then they don't know what their genuine thing is, and then they get lost, or I don't know. Certain things can happen, but
I mean, it comes back to the shoulds.
Exactly.
It comes back to my therapist always says, don't should all over yourself. Like,
dude,
it's
nice.
super real, man. Like you get into these things of like, oh, I'm in this scene, like I should be doing this thing. I should be working on. I should know these passing chords, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why should you?
It's
like,
music.
Do you like them? No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then, no.
I mean, certain things. It's like I was playing with my drumsticks on a pillow today. It's like I don't want to do that in a show. I'm not gonna do that on a song. But it's like I should do that so that my arms are less skinny, so I can have a little more power to do something that I want to do. So I guess in that case, it's like certain things. Maybe it's good to work them out to like get to a place that you like.
Man, that's funny because like most of my favorite drummers are like really small dudes.
Yeah.
Like I think about like
shorter, right?
Dude, like well, even just like muscle wise, like a you or a Juliana or a Nate Wood, like I'm not taking any of you in a fight versus most people.
Yeah, oh man. Well, dude, but I don't know Mark Juliana's forearms. I know Nate Wood's forearms because we're like friends, and I look at his forearms because I'm crazy and I want to get better at drums. And they're deceivingly big. Even Justin Brown said that once. He's like, man, Nate's forearms are bigger than you think. It is true, man, because like he can't go like on the hi hat, you know, like without some kind of meat going on. And it's really hard for me to grow meat on my arms, but I'm trying to do that with this pillow shit. But
yeah, eat less vegetables and more like fat shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to eat a little more meat sometimes.
Steak, dude.
Yeah, steak, fat shit.
Eat a cow.
Yeah.
Just take down a cow like every day. You'll have way more chops.
Yeah.
Dude, I think so. Have you met Lenny, my buddy? He did.
No, but dude, that guy is great.
Dude, he's really good. He's fucking amazing.
Lenny the Ox, right?
Yeah, and his
Dude,
arms
so
are maybe the biggest arms I've seen.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I look at people's forearms now because I'm interested in that shit, and he definitely has.
But you know he eats like that dude will literally walk around with like a bag of like almonds and mixed nuts, like that's like the size of my backpack.
Is he like vegetarian or something?
No, but I mean he'll eat like regular human shit, but like
ox meat.
Yeah, it's ox meat. I wonder if he's ever had like an ox burger, dude. Is that like a weird?
He's like, no, dude, that's my nickname.
But yeah, he literally just eats hella protein sources all the time.
Yeah.
And the dude does sets of like, I watched him do like sets of 150 push-ups like with minute breaks.
Man.
Like he's a beast.
That's crazy.
And it's dude, the funniest part of that is, and him and I have chatted about this, but like technique wise, he has to try to not rely on that.
Yeah.
Because you get tired faster.
Yeah. You gotta use like balance and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times that sounds better too, because like gravity has better time than you, man. Like fucking don't fight it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, when I used to do grid lessons with that dude that taught me, Dana Murray, this drummer back home, he would always talk about like, man, it really like if you try and force something into time, it's not gonna work. Like you have to think of it like, is it plinko, like the joint where the ball drops down the little hole?
Dude.
He's like, think of rhythm like that, where you're like dropping it into the beat or whatever.
There's a lot to that, man. Letting your arms fall, letting stuff fall instead of like pushing down every note. You know, it's like that's big.
Yeah,
that helps a lot,
dude. So grid wise, what are you? I know you've been in super shed lately.
Mm-hmm. The last 4 months, I've been practicing like 4 hours every day. I've been home.
What's your the grid part of that? You focus on offbeats a lot.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, for grid stuff, a lot of times offbeats, straight up offbeats, like offbeat 16th notes.
So thinking of like just E's and U's or like.
Yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that.
Shit, okay.
It's like super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, or like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Just playing on the E.
Yeah. Like that kind of shit. That's like so uncomfortable. That's probably like, as far as like 4/4 like funk stuff, to me that's like the most uncomfortable, but also the most grooving shit ever. So I used to sit there and just try to do offbeats and stuff like, and try to make it feel like a thing you'd want to listen to.
That's killing me.
And I still do that, but right now I'm trying to get my technique better so that I'm not like tense and stiff, because I think that kind of messes with my time. I think my time's getting a little bit better because I'm looser now.
Do you catch like, does that come with being tired like during a show or something like that? Like, do you catch end of shows your time is weirder or something?
Dude,
like that?
at the end of your overtime solo, every time before this tour, the time would be like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like you sound horrible. Like on recordings, I can get it right and stuff.
Dude, I'm exhausted by the end of that. So. Especially yesterday, dude. We played. What was it? 45 degrees outside.
That sucked. Yeah.
Like every 16th lick was like someone stabbing me in the face. Like, dude, it was so.
Definitely.
Playing outdoors is not the vibe for 16th notes.
Yeah, it was fun as hell though.
Yeah.
But yeah,
shout
that
out
was
to
really
CJ.
hard. Oh yes, shout out to CJ Thompson, double drums.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like my arms, I didn't have. I used to have stiffer technique, and so my time would suck, and like every idea would just kind of like fall down the stairs every time I tried by the end of a song or something.
Yeah.
My feet would get tense, and like my muscles would be all like clogged, and my mind would be clogged, and it sucked.
What are you working on to technique wise to fix it?
Well, I'm trying to get a little bit more muscle in my arms. See if that helps a little bit. But also, mostly, I'm just letting the sticks bounce. Just like I let them drop and I let them go like, just let them bounce a little more instead of
like trust that it'll work.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you got to find the balance between letting gravity work and when to like try to micromanage every note.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a balance of that. I think that's good for drums at least. But the thing is like if I have a gig on Jupiter, I'm gonna sound like shit because the gravity there is different. Nick just hit his head
as I just crush this mirror behind me. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's a market that's untapped.
Yeah, totally.
Shout out to the entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Let's figure out who's gonna make it work on Jupiter.
Yeah, some gas.
Jupiter's heavier. Is it way heavier? Or is it
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more gravity. I don't know if you can stand on anything. I think it starts to get like infinitely hot, and then you're inside liquid metal or something, and you're floating. I don't know if I think you can stand eventually if you had like an infinitely strong spacesuit or something.
I feel like even if you played a gig there, no one would come.
Yeah, nobody.
Like,
yeah, there'd be like Voyager 2.
Yeah, and the Martians are probably all listening to like weird like bubble music. Like gas bubble vibrations and shit like that. They're like,
that's good stuff, man.
What is this tonality you speak of?
Yeah. No, they're getting like they just got like now that's what I call music 6. It just hit Mars.
Oh, they're listening to like bop.
Yeah. Which now up to today's pop music sounds like a masterpiece. You know? But I remember when I was a kid, I was like, this sucks. But
and now you're just wishing it was still around.
Yeah, I'm like now it's kind of good.
Dude, I have hope for. There's a few of those people. Say those people in quotes because me and pop music aren't friends. But man, like there's something about Bruno Mars that even though it's a bit nichey, and I know that he's like, ooh, let me do a song from this era.
Right.
Like I can't hate it.
Yeah, there's definitely some pop artists that I think are good, and they have some truth in there and have some realness and passion and skill and talent and whatever. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of them though, I think, where they're trying too much. They're too concerned with trying to make money, and I don't know if it's them or the label or pressure from whatever, but it's just too much about trying to make money. And then because when that happens, it just tends to get filled with bullshit and get away from like emotion and get away from why you make music and get away from what the hell you want to make or whatever. I don't know. It just gets away from the truth of it all, and then I think that's why a lot of it sucks.
Do you run into businessy issues? Because the solo record, the recent one, came out on Brainfeeder?
Yeah. Do
you ever like run into like issues where they want something musically that you aren't about?
Oh no. I told in the contract.
Pretty open.
Yeah, they're cool, man. They understand. In the contract, like before I signed, I was like, I just can never. I don't even want to know an opinion. Like something. I mean, I don't know if I said that, but that's basically what I got across. Like I just don't even want anything artistically to ever. To be even in question of being questioned. Like that's just.
So there's no like they're not ever gonna take a tune off a record.
No, unless I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't even think of anything. Like, if I said something really messed up maybe or something, which I wouldn't, but maybe then they would be like, we can't put our name on this or something. But as far as me just making music, like, yeah. And maybe if I made a bunch of songs that they thought were so whack, like after a while they'd just be like, we can't have you as an artist or something. Maybe, I don't know. But they're open with what I do and they're into it, and they know that I just am going to do what I do. Sometimes, some people from the label will be like, your mixes are really distorted. And I'll be like, man, like, that's so on purpose. Like, this without a distortion thing, like, you don't want to hear this groove without the distortion, dude. Like, I put a distortion plugin on the master bus. It's like, I can mix clean. I just, like, certain songs, it just can't work. And so it always takes a minute there, I have to tell them, like, this is really what I'm hearing. This is my vision. This is what I want. And then they're cool with it.
That's cool.
Which is really nice. Yeah.
Do they? You haven't had any issues with like weird like them wanting to release like something quicker than you are trying to?
Dude, it's the other way around. No, there's actually one thing for their compilation. I tried to make 2 songs and then I just like they weren't right. They weren't good enough. And so I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't have a new one for your compilation. But that's the only time. But other than that, it's usually like, hey, I have a new album to release. And they're like, fuck, man.
So you just you're putting out the live session thing as like a record?
Yeah, it's pretty much a record. It's like 3 live session songs and then I don't know, like 6 bonus tracks or something. Just tracks that I made either recently or I think one of them's even from 2008. It's like from the last decade.
That's rad. And when is that? That's not out.
Yeah, it came out recently.
It is out.
Like early this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you are currently working on like new knower vibes.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to have slept on your couch for an evening while I think you were working on it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Your writing process is interesting because you guys will. Well, I mean, explain just melodically like what you and Jen are doing on some of those things.
Well, like right now, I'm just trying to make grooves. Genevieve's busy with writing her own stuff, and she has an album that she finished a long time ago. She's trying to put that out.
Okay.
So right now, I'm just working on stuff mostly. I'm just working on new grooves and chords and just song meat.
That's where you start. Is like you start from production end of like let me write changes and I'll put something on top of it.
Almost always. Sometimes if I get a melody that just like I have a vision with it, which is rare for me, then I'll start there. Or like lyrics. Like The Government Knows was like lyrically, that was the first thing that came on that song. And then and then everything.
I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I usually I start with drum beats, and a lot of times what I'll do now is I'll try to accept an idea that I get and try to build it up in my head and try to see it through mentally in my head internally before I start to try to do stuff, and it kind of helps the whole process have a direction.
That's probably less guessing.
Yeah, exactly. You do some of the guesswork in your head. Obviously, like certain things sound good in your head, and then it's just like crap when you put it down.
Are you doing like the phone memo hang, or like how do
you? I do that, or sometimes a lot of times phone memo, like I'll do voice memos recording, but mostly what I do is I'll write it down.
Oh, dope.
Be like, I want like a 140 BPM drum beat with like a high snare drum with like a bass line that sounds like Poison, and then like some chords that in the B section that sound like Mario Kart, or I don't know, It's like I'll try to write it as specifically as I can.
That's so rad. You haven't done any video game tunes, have you? Have you done video game shit? Because some of that stuff.
We put out a song that we already made, but we didn't write it for a video game, so I would say no so far. But I would like that. There's
definitely like in my Nintendo Switch path I've been on, I feel like there's like 2 or 3 spots where some
man.
Shit probably.
Well, that's where it's coming from, dude. Like Super Mario Kart and Streets of Rage and Star Fox and all that.
That's so rad. Did you ever learn any of that shit?
No, I mean I didn't. I transcribed one Mario Kart song from the Super Nintendo version when Toad wins. That's a really pretty 6-bar loop, man. It's sick. And then I made a rap song with my friend Vikram over the Princess Peach Super Nintendo song. But I haven't like learned it more than that. I think it just got fused to my musical DNA when I was a kid, just playing that shit all the time.
Dude, that shit is like, if I ever want to dive back into like technical work,
yeah.
Nintendo's the first place I'm going.
Like, what do you mean technical work?
I mean, just like, because it's like every now and then something like jazz to me, there's so much thought behind it that I want to do just like mechanics or something, and like I'll get tired of doing hand-ins or some shit like that.
Oh, right.
And so I'll work on like transcribing like the Super Contra song or something.
Oh, dude, that's tight. That's probably
that's
a good way to go about it.
I mean, well, you get a bunch of shit from it too. I mean, you get like you get synth work because you have to recreate like I can't do it on piano. I have to hear like 8-bit vibes.
Oh, totally.
And so it's like you get that stuff, and then you also get just the harmony of all that shit is really dense. So you're getting a ton of stuff while you're like shredding your mind away.
Yeah.
But it's not like. It's different to me than like playing jazz or like shout music or something like that where you're kind of like trying to think ahead of an idea. It's like, no, I'm literally just transcribing like just for the technique, and I happen to also be getting these other pieces to it.
Dude, that's tight, man. Yeah, that's probably a really good way to practice stuff.
Dude, the old Nintendo vibes. And the grid is like, because it's like old MIDI, like, old nerd shit, like the grid is so heavy.
Yeah, it's super groovy.
Hella hits. I think that's why the Noah stuff wasn't super. I mean, it's still difficult music to learn, but it wasn't as absurd.
It made sense to you.
because I could play like the Final Fantasy fight song.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like there's just so many parts and like weird like extra bars and shit like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is where's like the menu music. It's
Right.
like, you know, it's like less crazy.
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to touch on with you was, you seem very, very into, I don't know if holistic is the right word, but like eating natural stuff and
Mhm.
being very like cognizant of like what should I be doing with my diet, and like especially because your sleep schedule is completely fucking vampire vibes.
Yeah.
Like you are 100% opposite of me, which
Yeah.
means we really only communicate at like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
like when you're just
Our
about to
overlap
chill and I'm
window.
like waking up.
Yeah.
Like how does that affect like your writing processes, like your tour schedule, like how much it seems like you're thinking about it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the sleep schedule thing. I think I naturally go into that because when it's so late, like there's no distractions, and then also I think I trick my circadian rhythm. This seems kind of unhealthy, so I don't know. I wouldn't maybe recommend it, but you can experiment on yourself if you want. But I think I kind of trick my circadian rhythm if I am mostly awake during darkness because my body isn't like, oh, it's time to go to bed now. It's just like always energized. If I get into the right way, if I'm not fighting jet lag and I'm not like just getting into the schedule, if I've been into it for a little while, like my body's just like always awake. And I don't know if it's good. I try to take like vitamin D supplements and I'll try to like wake up and get the last, I'll get like 15 minutes of sunlight, direct sunlight on my skin just so I like don't get some weird like scurvy or I don't know what the
What
fuck.
do you sleep? You're not doing like the 8-hour sleep thing.
I try to. I feel the best if I have 8 hours. I think because like I know like Nikola Tesla only slept like 4 hours or maybe less. I don't know. He's kind of crazy, but he's like the most inspiring dude I can think of.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I need more because I think also playing the drums is physical and you just need some rest after that.
Well, I know some of the old like thinkers would dive into I can't remember what it's called, but it's where you're like awake for 4 hours and you
Oh yeah,
take
polyphasic.
Yeah.
Polyphasic.
Something like that.
Dude, I tried to do that the other day and I messed me up, man. That's not for me, I don't think.
Yeah, it seems like the people who do that definitely have some like genetic pluses to their genetic advantages to their process. Like it seems.
Yeah, I know Tesla did that. I think somebody said Einstein did that. I don't know. Those guys are heavy though.
I mean, man, the sleep thing is really, I don't know. I feel like at some point I'm gonna have to be your tour dad and be like, all right, Lewis.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get more. I'm trying to get it more on track because I've been going to bed at like 11 a.m. and 10 a.m. and it sucks.
Does it ever catch
it's
up?
too late.
Like, do you get the like body freakouts? Like, if you do that for a long time, does it catch up to you?
Yeah, definitely. It's not good after a while. I think if it's that late. My ideal time is during the summer now, like going to bed at 6 a.m. and waking up at 2 p.m. That's the ultimate for me because then I get plenty of daylight and I get plenty of nighttime and no distractions and stuff.
Well, at least then too, you can like have a few hours where the rest of civilization is up. Like if you need to go to the bank or something.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's another thing because otherwise you have to do it before you go to sleep and then you're just like.
Yeah, I can't imagine being
like,
up at like 8 a.m. Still up at 8 a.m. trying to go to like the teller window.
Oh, it's weird, man. It's really weird.
I can't even imagine, dude. It's gonna be terrible.
And then as far as like eating food that's healthy, I just do that so I can try to maximize my energy.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have energy, man, it's so hard to like go with the inspiration and go with ideas and work on music, man. Because it's like you gotta like kick your own ass to like do that stuff.
Does it fuck with you mentally if you have like a hard food day or two?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it makes me slow.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do it, man. You gotta eat at Waffle House because it's like some of the greatest food ever made. It's like for your taste buds, it's like unbelievably good.
Man, that's amazing.
Giordano's in Chicago. Oh my god, dude.
Do we if we ever play Baltimore, there's a spot I gotta take you to called Miss Shirley's.
What
It
is
is the greatest breakfast spot in the history of the planet.
Dude, that sounds great.
It's like they have like stuffed waffles.
Damn.
It's just like the breakfast spot. Like there's always a wait, but it's like violently worth. You're gonna spend $60 there.
Tight.
It's fine. It's just fine.
That's
There's some
cool.
spots here in Atlanta too, but I think we're all like you guys fly pretty early. I fly fairly early tomorrow. So by the time everyone hears this, this will be a past tour. So you guys have a couple gigs coming up, and then you're doing a bunch of like kind of small lineup things like in May, right? Are you doing a big band run?
Yeah, I'm doing well in May. We're working with a German big band.
Oh, a different one.
Not Norbotten. WDR.
Oh, kill it.
And I still got to do arrangements for that. I will. And then a lot of solo shows. Well, a few solo shows, like maybe 5.
That's killing.
Yeah, in Europe.
Well, dude, it has been a pleasure. We just hit like an hour, so
Perfect.
Yeah, man, and
Thanks for having me,
dude. I'm excited to hear whatever new stuff comes out.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you for being you're definitely like. I always get really excited when there's like voices that come from nerdery.
Yeah.
Because they make me feel better about mine.
Oh yeah, never fight it, dude.
Dude, it's once you accept never to fight it, like you'll start getting work.
Yeah, man. No, everyone's a nerd. Everyone is like, oh, what's the name of that one keyboard that I play? Like, they're too cool to know what their own keyboard is. Or I don't know, like, maybe that's not the best example. But you know what I mean? People who act too cool to, like, know things. It's like, come on, man.
Well,
you're a fucking nerd. If you're good at music, you're a nerd.
I'm constantly amazed at, especially your shows, like, how many, like, people who, if I would just see them on the street, I'd be like, oh, that guy's really cool. Or that couple's, like, really too cool. And then they come to your shows and they're, like, doing the most uncomfortable dance moves, like, just super, like, dorky out. And it's like, it just makes me super happy.
Yeah.
So, dude, thank you.
Yeah, man, thank you.
Yeah.